Hello there YouTube and welcome to a Who review. I am Davros and I am a Whovian, and today I am reviewing Doctor Who Revelation of the Daleks. So this is the final serial from season 21 or 22, and in this the Doctor and Perry head to the planet Necros, where the Doctor has a friend who has passed away and finds themselves at this ventriloquy tongue twister for me there ventriloquy place where the rich and famous can be cryogenically frozen or just have a fancy funeral, only for it to be a trap set up by Davros. And Davros is taking the bodies of these people on Necros to make a new species of Dalek that will obey him. And of course, they summon the Daleks, the actual Daleks, and they come and take Davros to Skaro, where he will stand trial, and the Doctor stops the whole of Davros's laboratory. So that's pretty much the essential story. So what did I like? Well, I like that this was a Dalek story. We got Davros in there, and Colin Baker as the Doctor. He was good as well in it. And Nichola Bryant as Perry. And I like part 2 a lot. I even like the character, the DJ, played by Alexei Sale or something. You know, from The Young Ones. That's who I recognised as the guest star in this. This also featured Clive Swift as well, who later returns to the show in the 2007 Christmas special, Voyage of the Damned. He played a different character in this, of course, and he was the head embalmer of this, like, intergalactic funeral parlour, if you will. I also thought a lot of the practical effects were good, and the digital effects, that's if there is any, or the special effects, I'll say, they didn't use them as much, but still used them either way for the Daleks' laser and firing. That's what I feel that they used it for. The rest of it were practical. Of course, some practical effects haven't aged particularly well, especially the Dalek ship landing and arriving. You can clearly tell that's a model set, but again, I do like that because it shows that it was very simple and they were trying to make it work and be convincing. But of course, you can clearly tell it's a model set. One thing I forgot to mention is that Davros, in this he is referred to as the healer, but of course he's not the healer. He's doing his twisted experiments to create Daleks, of course, and we also find he has a bounty on him in this by some guy in a robot leg that hunts him down, or attempts to hunt him down, finding it honourable as he's hired in this by the leader of that planet. And of course, this Davros we seen like a tube, or well, as a head. Turns out it's not the real Davros, that's just a decoy, because the real Davros, he sees it coming. Of course, again, the makeup and the prosthetics are done good on him, and again, Terry Malloy returns and reprises the role as Davros, and I thought he looked great playing him. But what didn't I like? Well, part 1 I feel was very slow. You know, part 1 just introduced characters for their story arcs, for the parts they're playing, and I feel that the Daleks had very little to do in part 1 other than just wheel around and stuff. And the Doctor and Perry weren't as heavily featured in it as well. But we also never see the Doctor or Perry enter the Vancril place until around the beginning of part 2. So part 1 is a real slow burn, building it up to the events of part 2, and part 2 do take off a lot more in this. Another thing I like was the unsettling fact about it with, when we see these frozen bodies getting made into Daleks. I thought that was a pretty unsettling moment and probably very risky back at that time when the show was airing, because the show was getting into a bit of trouble with its dark, materials and violence. But I feel that was like, made the show a bit better and kind of set the standards up for now. But in the 80s, I feel that was ahead of its time. Of course, Eric Saywood returns to pen the story. But is it a good story? Well, yes and no. I find part 1 a bit of a snooze fest, but part 2 is when it all picks up, when all the action takes off. But yeah, I guess if you like slow burn, then you might like this one. Is it a good one? Well, it's not massively brilliant, but it's okay. It's a fairly decent story. So my ratings, I'll give the performances do excuse the noise, I'll give the performances an 8, the visuals a 7, the writing a 8, and my personal, I'll give it an 8. So there you go. That is it for this Who review of Doctor Who Revelations of the Daleks. Have you seen this one? Let me know down in the comments below if you have, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and share with your friends, and to feel free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've been Davros the Whovian, and this has been a Who review, and until next time, run for your life.